Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I'm excited about this live tonight. I'm going to teach very simply, imagine what it would look like for you to live a life of freedom. Because a lot of the women that follow me, one of the greatest desires that you have is to figure out how can you replace your current income and figure out how can you take your know-how, your background, your gifts, package those things into a product, a service that would allow you to be a full-time entrepreneur. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today over the next couple of minutes. I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist, business and life coach. I got started in my business about 17 years ago, simply with that dream. I wanted to figure out how could I go to work as myself? How could I take what I knew, whether it was a soft skill, whether it was a life skill, whether it was a hard skill that I was using in corporate America as a corporate trainer, and package my know-how into a product or a service in my own business. And I only wanted to run a company because I wanted to figure out, hey, Rosetta, how to replace my income. I wanted to figure out how to get free. And tonight, that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, if you've ever asked yourself this question, maybe sitting at work, that was me. Okay. I would be at work, think like, how in the world can I figure out how can I get this smart girl right here free? And not only free, but I wanted to be able to sustain my freedom. That's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I've got 8 simple points that I want you to consider. And what I will say is that you might even want to get a piece of paper and pen. You might want to get a notebook out because these will likely really support you in asking yourself to go a little bit deeper, because sometimes we don't play with exploring outside of the lines, and it's the reason why we stay inside of the box. Now, today, I'm going to share with you, ways that you can get yourself free. And I'm going to simply get you to explore, play outside of the conventional lines. For those of you who don't know me, let me properly introduce myself. Here's my handshake. I'm Mia Redrick. I am the mom strategist, business and life coach. I've coached thousands of women literally over the last 17 years, supporting them in packaging their education, experience, and expertise into high ticket products relatively quickly. So all of my clients sell products that are $2,500 or more, or they're not a fit for me. And most of the women that I work with are smart, they're sharp, they have a history of creating results for others, whether it's on the soft skill side, meaning it's just something that you know how to do and people ask you about over and over again, or whether it's something on the hard skill side, something that maybe you trained in and for in your profession and you're using currently, and you've been trying to figure out, how do I monetize me? Have you ever asked that question? Well, that was me, okay? When I first got started in my company, or at least I had the idea to start my company, I didn't know what the product was going to be. And so I was very much probably where you're sitting right now, trying to figure out, how can I take what I'm doing as a corporate trainer, and I had these great systems in motherhood, and how can I monetize the thing that I know how to do? And I didn't know how to do that. So my first thought was, I went to a small business resource center in my town, and I was told that my idea, mom coaching, didn't make any sense, and that no one would ever pay me to do what I'm currently doing. And I'm so grateful that I didn't listen to that small business director, and that I kept looking for someone to help me. And I ended up hiring a coach. It was the very first thing that I did. I didn't know anything about business coaching, life coaching, and any of that. But what I knew was that I wanted a lifestyle that would allow me to be free. I wanted to figure out how to take my knowledge, and I wanted to know how to package that knowledge into a product that I could offer to other people, a product or a service. And I just didn't know how to do it. Even with my background, even with the success that I had created professionally, I still didn't know how to do that. And maybe you can relate to that. Fast forward, I've coached thousands of clients. I've written tons of books. I've had the opportunity to be featured on Emmy-nominated, nationally syndicated television shows as the mom strategist. I've built an amazing brand. And I'm not saying this as a ego trip or at all. I'm saying because it's fact. There was the girl that didn't know what she was going to do. And I had the opportunity to do corporate deals with Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies at a very high level, coached thousands of women literally all around the globe. And I want you to know this, that what you know is very valuable, properly packaged. And often the thing that gets in the way is the fact that we are trying to coach ourselves. We are trying to glean the free. We are trying not to strategically know how to take what we know and offer it to the world in the best ways. I knew that I couldn't just be a coach, that I had to understand how to build the business of coaching, because coaching is a business. And I had to understand the best practices in order for me to grow a great business. And I have to say that I'm so grateful that I had the foresight to make investments in myself right away. I've worked with the same coach for 17 years. As a result of growing my business, I would say that one of the greatest gifts has been the financial security and the freedom. And I'm going to talk about that today. And it's because when you are no longer codependent on your spouse's income in order for you to do the things that you want to do, and my spouse is great. We've been married for 25 years this December. But when you're not codependent, when you are able to stand in the gap for your family, it makes all the difference. And I think so many women know that they need to step up their game, but whenever they want to invest in themselves, they cannot. They're not in a place where they can say, this is what I want to do without asking permission. And I'm not saying this to insult anyone. I'm just simply shaking your shoulders if this is you, because it is one of the reasons that we don't get to stand in the gaps for our family. And if you've been watching my lives, you know, the one thing that I do is I speak truth to you. And my only goal is to support you in making the shifts. Well, 9 years ago, my husband developed kidney disease, and it was shocking and very difficult for my family. He went on dialysis 3 days a week, 3 hours each time. And then, you know, the dynamics of my family changed. My oldest son at the time was 11, my daughter was 8, and my youngest was 5. And we were so used to, you know, my husband being a major part of our world and active in our world. And now we've got this uncertainty that's going on, and it was scary. And he went on dialysis, and I was so grateful that I had taken a stand for myself first, because I had grown a business. I could be the kind of wife that my husband needed me to be in that moment, that he could focus on healing, that we could hire for him. Hey, Kenyatta and Michelle, we could hire for him a private physician so he could get amazing care, that we could hire for him the personal training he needed so that he could rebuild and become stronger. So when he got a kidney transplant 4 years ago, he did exceptionally well, because we were able to put the tools in place so that he could do well. And I tell you this because you guys come to my page all the time, and I hope that this feels different being here. You guys let me know, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's about building a sustainable business. It's not about building a course. It's not about just selling somebody something. It's about building something that creates tremendous impact and value in this world. And because of it, you secure your future and your family's future forever. That's what I did. And I always say this, and I love lighting the torches of other women who are smart, who are sharp, who are action takers, and who are go-getters and who are go-givers, because you can't change your life without showing up like a giant in your own life. And so this notion that a lot of times women use their family as an excuse, they say, like, I'm going to grow, I'm going to do something for me when Tommy goes off to school. And the reality is that that's really kind of selfish, right? Like, the reality is that when your kids don't get to know who you really are, I think that's like one of the most selfish things ever, because you think you putting your life on hold is the best gift you could offer your kids, when if you showed up for you, if your kids ever needed you financially or otherwise, or through time, you could be there. I'm just breaking this down. So from my view, is my opinion. Now today, I'm going to jump right into this. Hey, Michelle, imagine what freedom exists for you. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And I've got 8 simple points. I would suggest that if you don't have a notebook, you might want to just pull something out, because This is just from my heart. I was thinking about this today, and I thought, a lot of times people don't even take the time to really even think about the thing that they really truly want that could really bless them and their family. So I'm going to break this down, and I want you guys to play along with me as I go here. Number one, the first thing I want you to think about is that I want you to imagine that you can build a business, first of all, with what you know from the comfort of your home. Because, and just pause for a second and really think about this. Imagine if you built a business that you could run from your house. Okay. Just hang in there with me. Because a lot of us, we haven't even played outside of those lines. I meet so many entrepreneurs who, even when they start their businesses, they still build a business like their job because they're so programmed by their work lives that they can't even understand how to build a business around their life, right? And not the other way around. But imagine, just hang in there with me for a minute. Imagine if you could build a business from the comfort of your home. What would that look like? You know what I mean? Like, when would you work during the day? Would you be an early morning person? Would you work 9 to 5? Or would you, I work 1 o'clock. I come in the office at 1 o'clock every day, and I spend the early part of the morning. That's my time, right? That's where I work out. That's when I spend time in my sauna. That's when I spend time in my gym. That's my time, me time, my time. Okay. That's my time to just enjoy my family, not rush into my day. I love it. Okay. Have breakfast dates with my husband. Pre-COVID, we had a lot of breakfast dates because, we would drop the kids off and all of that. So I want you to imagine for a minute, if you could work from the comfort of your home, what would it look like? What would it enable you to do? Would you be able to, show up at your children's school? Would you be able to take them to school without rushing? Would you be able to read a story before you let them go into the classroom? Because sometimes the reason that we operate or show up in our world is because we don't control our time. I've been a full-time entrepreneur working from the comfort of my home for the last 17 years. I'm in my home office now. I love working from the comfort of my home, Michelle. It brings me tremendous joy. I ease into my day. I work with giants, women who are smart, they're sharp, they believe in self-investment. They are action takers, they're go-getters, they're go-givers. Every day for me is a joy. And I don't work really like an 8-hour or 10-hour. It's not really that kind of thing. I do some marketing obviously in the day, and I have a team that helps me, but I love having a life where I can focus on the things that matter most. I want you to think about this for a minute. Imagine if you could simply work from the comfort of your home. What would you do? What would you wear? What would it look like? How would you drink your coffee? Would you sit on your deck? Would you sit outside in your yard? You know what I mean? And creatively begin to write your book or whatever you want to do. What would that look like? Because for me, when I started my business years ago, I said, I want to work simply from the comfort of my home. That was really important to me. And every mentor, teacher, coach that I've ever worked with, they've all been full-time entrepreneurs. And I only wanted to learn from someone that was free because that was the ultimate desire. I have 3 coaching calls that I do a week, and those calls are 90 minutes, max 2 hours. And that's my work. That's what I'm committed to. That's what I do each week, right? That's how I run my company. And I just want you to step inside. I thought if I could pull back the layers, share for a minute, just that vision. Maybe you haven't played with what that can look like how you would interact differently in your life, like how you no longer would be rushing around the things that matter the most, like maybe the people even that matter the most, that you'd be able to take your time, show up at the games at the end of school, not be in conflict about what was most important. Number 2, imagine if you could, in building your business, you could leverage your expertise, your education, and your experience to build a sustainable business. So imagine that whatever it is that you want to do right now in terms of running your business, as a coach, as a consultant, as a trainer, online educator, speaker, author, imagine if you could build that business and it would be financially sustainable and create financial freedom for you. Okay. Like, because that is ultimately the goal. And it's really the reason why I don't teach anything that's flash cash to my clients, because at the end of the day, it's not just about getting free. It's about getting free and staying free. And you only do that when you have solid models and solid practices, and when you're ethical, because because clients come back over and over and over again, right? And ultimately in coaching and consulting, it's what the kind of results that you create that ultimately tell the story. It's true, right? Like, that's how your clients know who's good, who's not good to work with, is based on the results and transformation that you provide. So imagine if what you already have done, like, you don't need to take another class, you don't need to go to school, you don't need to do another thing, another certification, you don't need another thing. Imagine if what you had right now was enough to get you free. And see, this was the thing that I don't think when I got started, I quite understood. I knew I wanted to start a business, and I had hopes to replace my income, and I wanted to get free and stay free. But the reality is that that is what I created for myself. I built a business that has allowed me to be financially secure and to create tremendous financial freedom equally for me. That's allowed me to show my family's life using my intellect, right? Using my skills, using my talents. And when I got started, it was all around self-care for moms. So I wasn't selling any kind of business coach or anything like that. I was simply selling the systems that I knew so well as a mom, how to help a mom find time for her life. It is my expertise based on me finding time for my own life, not getting lost in motherhood. So I want you to know this, that what you know is very valuable. Even if you're not marketing anything right now, what you know is very valuable. And the difference for me was that I aligned with someone that could teach me how to package my knowledge into a product or service. And because of it, it changed my life. And I would say equally that I never built out just cheap courses. Thank you. Oh, Michelle writes, you always have me in tears because I look at how much time I missed in doing these things. Michelle, thank you for that. And know that the time is now, right? That those tears are cleansing tears, because everything that you want to do is already available to you, and it's available to you right now. And those tears are confirmation for you that it's time. It's time to stand in your gifts. It's time to own your gifts and know that you can be free with what what you've already done right now. You can be. And I know that for me, the path wasn't certain, because nobody said, hey, the mom strategist, yeah, this is going to work. But I just had that feeling. I think sometimes we just have that feeling inside of ourselves that we know that what we know is substantive. We know that we make a difference because of the feedback that our life is giving us, because of just the knowing that we have. But we don't trust ourselves, or often we aren't surrounded with enough people who are outside of the box or who can light our candle. And because of it, we don't imagine. But I just want to talk about tonight that imagine for yourself, right? If you could leverage your own background, your own experience, your own gifts, your own what you already have done, okay? And you could package that into a high ticket offering. Imagine the kind of future you could create for yourself. What kind of freedom could you create for yourself? What does it look like? I mean, when's the last time you ever thought about it, played with it, really visualized it? It was something I thought about every single day. I even wrote myself checks. I just knew I had to be free. And I envisioned myself doing things like picking my kids up from school, being there in their classroom, hanging out in my house, gardening. And I just thought about things like that I wanted to do. And I didn't want to have to run off to work during the best hours or years of my life. I wanted to be able to plant seeds in my own life and grow that, and create a legacy for my family. Number 3. So imagine if you could replace your current income with your own business. So imagine for a minute, just think about this, okay? Think about it. Imagine if you could package your knowledge, right? into a product or service that would allow you to replace your income in your own business, what would that look like? What difference would that make for you? Like, I want you to think for a minute, like if you were able to do what you want to do, like with your gifts, like with your purpose, right? And you were able to replace your income, would you still work your job? Would you still do that? All right. And you guys can write yes or no, even if you're watching the replay, write yes or no. If you could replace your income doing your own thing in your business, doing what you love to do, working when you want to work, okay, working with the people that you want to work with, standing in your purpose, doing what you want to do in complete alignment, would you still work in your profession? Some people are going to say yes because they love what they do. Great. Okay. And some people are going to say no. All right. Or some of you are even going to say, I would work less. Right. So I want you to just think about it for a minute, that if you could replace your income through what you're doing, and you can, like I not only replaced my income, you know what I mean? I like 30, 40 times what I was making. And the reality was that that's pretty powerful, right? So Edie writes, I would not continue in that job, right? And Rosetta says yes. And Yaya says that is a great question, right? And I think it's a question, Yaya, that people never ask themselves, right? Like, if I could replace what I'm currently making, would I keep doing what I'm doing? Imagine for a minute if you did do that, okay? What would that look like? Okay, would you stay where you are? And that tells you exactly what you need to do. Because I think sometimes we never think about what is my next step, because we're so focused on security. Well, security is a good thing, but we're so focused on security that often we forget to dream the thing that we know fuels our soul. And I know that's true. I wake up every single day thinking, man, I love what I'm doing. Number four, imagine what would your lifestyle look like, right? For you, right? So imagine if you were able to get yourself free, what does lifestyle look like to you? Now, or for you, lifestyle to me and lifestyle for everyone is something different. But have you ever taken a minute to think about, if you were free, if you were working from the comfort of your home, if you built a business that more than replaced your income, your 9 to 5 or your 7 to 7 job, right? Okay, Tracy says, no, I would not continue working on my job. And Michelle says, no, my job is not what I do day to day. I work more in my gifts and calling, healing people, than being an administrator. Absolutely, right? So that's really important to understand. So imagine what lifestyle would look like for you. Now, for some people think that lifestyle to me it is leaving their lives. I like to build a life that I can come home to. So literally, I think about, I work from the comfort of my home. My home it brings me joy, right? The people that I love the most are here. I think about, how can I add value to my environment in my home, so that when I vacation, it's great when I vacation, but I want to build a life that I want to come home to. And that means that everything that I love is in my home. And, whether it's, and that the environment is what I want it to be. It means that I have a level of freedom to be able to travel as much or as long as I want to, and to go anywhere I want to be able to take my business and my laptop and my phone and be able to be in business. That's all I need. All I need is a phone, literally, and a laptop to run my company. I can run my business anywhere in the world. Literally, I've run my business out of the country, and it's worked great. It's not because of the kind of business. So what would lifestyle look like for you? Right? I didn't want a business that would confine me. I wanted a business that I could run and have freedom. I wanted a business that would give me time freedom. That wasn't I wasn't trading time for dollars like in my job. I wanted a business that, to me, lifestyle means that I get to create impact, that every single day I get to see seeds that I've planted in the lives of others blossom. And there's nothing like that. It's like an incredible gift to watch the people that you care for and that you love and that you're sowing into grow. It's pretty powerful. But what would that look like for you? What would lifestyle look like? Maybe it would be a car for you. Maybe it would be some things. I know for me, I guess I'm not really a very materialistic person. I like lifestyle for me means like, building up my home gym or putting in my own sauna. I did a dry sauna and, putting in a sauna for my family or, things like that, right? Like I like things like that we can enjoy together, spending quality time. Rosetta writes, I would love the ability to run my business anywhere, time freedom. Yeah. Yeah. It's very powerful. And I think about this because my youngest son is now in high school and he's in ninth grade. And I'm thinking in 4 years, my husband and I have already been talking about it, like where we're going to buy our next home, right? We know it's going to be somewhere on the West Coast. And just thinking about what that looks like, because I can work anywhere. It's like I only have 3 calls a week. And so, it's very easy. My husband's now retired. So that's exciting. Tracy writes, time is one of the most expensive currencies. Listen, time is the one thing that you can't get back. And it's the thing that often people take for granted with their gifts. They take for granted time, but you can't get time back. So think about it, right? Like, what would that lifestyle look like for you? Really think about it and feel it. Like, what would it look like? I kept thinking about it, and I knew that lifestyle for me meant that I could be with the people that I cared for the most. And that included my parents, that included my brother, that included my husband and my kids, that included myself, right? And that money would no longer be a concern or a driving force in my life where I'm constantly thinking about what I don't have. To me, lifestyle means that I can focus on what I do have and enjoy the people that I have the most. I hope this is supporting you. Number 5, imagine if you weren't afraid, okay, of failing. What would you do? What would you create? So I want you to think about this. All right, really. Imagine if you were not afraid of failing, making a mistake. What would you do? What would you create? What would you launch? You know what I mean? Who would you become? What would you try? Okay, because the answer to that question is the thing that is the calling, right? It is the thing that you are meant to do. I'll share a quick story with you. I was at an event, one of my clients' events, maybe 11 or 12 years ago, and I answered a question similar to this. And it was, what's the one thing that you would do if you weren't afraid? And I was like, I would host an event. And up until that time, I had hosted 3 cruise events, but I never hosted a physical event. And then I wrote down I would host an event, and within 2 weeks of leaving that event, I booked a venue for the Time for Mommy retreats. I've held 11 events, right? 11 events, okay, since that time, which have been absolutely incredible, all just bangbuster events. What I'm telling you is that thing that has you afraid is the thing that you're meant to birth and launch. I didn't know how I was going to do this. I remember it. I think that was in April. I, within 2 weeks, booked my venue. I didn't know if anyone was going to come. All of the events have sold out for the last 11 years. We rebranded the event last year. It's called the Giant Experience. And women literally traveled from everywhere to come to the event. I'm telling you, like when I said yes to that, I didn't even know anyone would come. So imagine asking yourself that question if you weren't afraid. What would you create? What would you do? What would you sign up for? What would you say yes to? What would you step into? What would you realize for yourself that because you won't step and hang from that skinny branch, you're not living your calling? And I can tell you for sure that if it's not big enough, if it's not that thing that really tugs at your heart, you won't fight for it. There's something about going for that thing that you absolutely love, okay, like that you love, okay, really, it drives you. Jazz writes, yes, this fall weather has me missing the live experience. Yeah, absolutely, totally. So, I'm just saying that was all birth, that event Jasmine, was all birthed from a query, very much like this. And I answered that question and I took an action right away. So hear what I'm saying and then listen to what I did do, right? Because I wrote down I would host an event and I took an action within 2 weeks, booked the venue, and I was off. And the only reason it was 2 weeks was I had to visit a couple of venues, but I did that right away. And so a lot of times the thing that separates us from the thing that we really want is action. I hope this is supporting you. If this is supporting you, I want you to write, this is supporting me, because I wanted to come on here tonight and talk about, imagine what freedom can exist for you. What kind of freedom can exist for you? And Jazz says, yes, my event was birthed at that event. Yeah, absolutely. That's what happens, right? Like, isn't that amazing? Number 6, imagine if money was no longer a concern. Now, I want you to think about this, okay? Imagine. Thank you, Kenyatta. She writes, this is supporting me. Action. Jasmine writes, you taking action helps us all take action. Thank you. Tracy says, this is supporting me. I'm so glad. Rosetta says, this is supporting me. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So imagine if money was no longer a concern. Now, hear me on this. Lean in on this one, okay? Because I think that a lot of times the reason that we don't move forward doing the things that we want to do is a lot of times because of our money beliefs. Yeah. And so those money beliefs can look a lot of different ways. And sometimes it's like, we don't have the money for this right now. I don't know that I deserve this, right? Or needing someone to tell you that you deserve whatever it is, or feeling that everybody else in your family should get their needs met and you take what's left. I mean, there could be many beliefs, or having a belief that I do invest in myself, but only up to this amount, right? I mean, think about it. You got a big, amazing dream, but you are not a premium investor in your dream in any way. But I want you to think about this. Imagine if money was no longer concerned. What would you do differently? What investments would you make in yourself? Okay, to grow yourself. If money was no longer concerned, how would you live? Because see, money is no longer concerned, and often for so many people, it is the way that they frame every single thing in their life, in their world, by what they have, what they don't have, what they can do, what they can't do. Imagine if you just stepped into your decision making, not from a place of lack, not from a place of limitation, but from a place of power, right? Like, if money was not a concern, what would I choose for myself? Because it is the thing that you truly want and need that will grow you, that will fuel you, that will change you. And I say this because so many people make investments, Kenyatta, in themselves based on what they believe they can afford. Every single investment that I made, early in my business, there was no reason for me to believe that I should be making an investment at that high level in myself. But I did it because I just thought that I didn't ever want to make money a concern. And I knew that if I were hanging out with people where money wasn't a concern for them, they could show me how to do that. Okay. And that's what I wanted to know. And I knew that if I, in some way, reduced that big dream to something small based on my fears and my insecurities, I would get those things. And it's the reason why so many people create these small courses. You know what I mean? You sell your big dream, your intellect, the thing you've been working on forever, your knowledge, your talent, your skill for cheap. It is because money's a concern. You buy what you can afford, right? That's what people told you. But see, buying what you can afford is different than investing in what can change your life. And I'm teaching really good right now, so I hope you guys are getting this, right? But imagine money was no longer concerned. And this is something that, I think is so important to understand, because when you have more than enough resources that come in, you don't think about money in the same way that you do when you don't. You become almost everything that you do is defined by what you have, what you don't have. But when you do have resources, you don't think about money that way. You choose powerfully for yourself. But imagine if you could step back for a second and say, how can I choose powerfully for myself? What's the highest and greatest choice? If money was not an object, what would I choose? What is right for me? Because so how do we get to the thing that's right for us, choosing the thing that's wrong for us? I'm just asking you, and I'm breaking this down. Kenyatta writes, working on that as well. Change my thinking, change my way of life. I love it. Tracy says that's the difference, right? Like you got to imagine that money is not a concern. And it's interesting because I know that there's somebody out there that's probably saying, okay, Mia, well, you're saying this, but you've been in business for over a decade, and that's why you're saying this. No, I'm saying this because that was my frame of thinking. I literally would say, what would Bill Gates do? Literally. Like, how would Bill Gates solve this problem? This is like when I was brand new in business. I just aligned my thinking with someone that thought bigger than me because I knew I couldn't get there based on what I knew. And I wasn't trying to recreate what I already knew. I was trying to do something different. So I aligned with my mentors, with with people who were informal mentors, even like Bill Gates, and said, how would he choose in this moment? If I look at what I can see right now, like, how is he showing up? And it really helped me to understand, to step into a higher version of myself, that I had to change my associations. I had to change my beliefs because our beliefs bind us. I had to change the level of mentorship that I was investing in. I had to change what I believed I deserved. I had to show up for myself. I hope this is supporting you guys. Number 7. Imagine, oh my gosh. No, imagine if you were secure enough to be yourself. And I'm going to talk about that for a minute. And then I'll go to number 8 and then we're done. Imagine if you were secure enough in yourself to be yourself. So powerful. I'm real hardcore about it because I think that we live in a world that tells us that what somebody else does, you need to be a version of them. But one of the things that I've learned from that is that all your power comes from understanding that you have unique gifts and talent that are distinct to you. And that when you show up as her, you're unstoppable. Can you create success being a creative duplicator of someone else? Sure, you can. But inside your soul, it's just not the same. I often think like, man, I feel alive doing what I'm doing. I'm not looking to see what someone else is doing to figure out what I'm going to do. I get direct downloads. You get direct downloads, right? From God, right? From source, right? So the reality is why do I need to go and look at somebody's page or see what someone's doing to figure out what my calling is? I'm just asking you. That's all belief. And you imagine if you were secure enough, right, with yourself to be yourself. Imagine how powerful that could be, right? Like, imagine, like my husband said to me at times when I was shooting television segments, he would say, well, how do you know? Like, how do you know it's going to be okay? Like when I would pitch things, he would say, and I just thought, like, because I'm just being me. I don't have to try to remember the perfect thing ever to be, because I'm stepping inside of my experiences, my gifts, my talents. And I've always used my mentorship as a way to sharpen my saw, to give me different tools in my toolbox, right? Best practices, but never to be anything other than who I am. My coach and I couldn't be any different. We're very different people, actually. We're both great people, but we're very different people. I'm a mom. She's not a mom, and we're both business coaches. We have different spins on how we do what we do. We're both great at what we do, but I'm me. And the reason that the women that come to me is because I am me. And the reason that people go to her is because she is her. And so I want to encourage you, if you're that person that you scour the internet or whatever, and you think that there's one way, there's not one way. Mm-mm. The most powerful way is for you to be you. And I don't think we tell people this enough. We tell people, look, there's one way to do it. When I teach my clients, I teach them my best practices, systems that I know work, and they do work. But I don't teach them to be a mini version of me. In fact, if I do that, I think as a coach, it's a disservice to them, because I want them to be their best version of themselves, because that's the most powerful thing that you can possibly be. And if you don't know that, I want you to understand that there's not one way to do anything. There's a lot of ways to do things, but the best way is for you to be you. You guys got it. Number 8. And imagine if you worked with a coach or a consultant or mentor that could show you how. And so all I'm going to say about that is this, that for me, I can only tell you that none of the success that I created did I just make it up on my own, and I know that I work with really smart people, and there are people out there who do believe that they can build a successful coaching, consulting practice from the comfort of their home and by themselves. And I'm sure you can. But that wasn't my story. Learning how to run a business online, learning how to market online, and learning how to sell, learning how to structure packages, courses, training, the way that would showcase my talents and skills. I invested in best practices. That's what I did. And the very first thing that I did when I started my business was make an investment in a coach. And for those of you who are so smart, you're so talented, and you've been spinning your wheels like over and over and over again, why? What are you doing? Okay, like what's going on? Okay, like why are you doing that? Okay, I just want to shake your shoulders for a minute, because I did not build my practice this way. When you think about the time wasted, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Like if it took you 1 year, you invested with someone, it took you 1 year to figure out how to replace your income, would it be worth it? If it took you 2 years to replace your income that you're currently making in your job, if it took you 2 years to figure out working with a coach or mentor that you invested in, would that be a shortcut for you? Yes. Okay. And this notion of you wasting 2 years, 1 year, or waiting for your kids to graduate, or not being seriously committed enough to make an investment in yourself at the highest level is the thing that's getting in the way. And I'm being honest with you. And look, I'm not selling you anything. Okay. But I'm telling you what I know is true. And maybe, just maybe, you're here because you're supposed to hear it, even if you're listening to this replay. So I hope that this supports you. Imagine if you worked with someone that knew what they were doing. Sure, you got to do your homework. You need to make sure the person that you're going to work with, that I think that they need to have the things that you want. So these things that we just talked about today, they need to have these things, right? If you want to build a business from your home, your coach should be building their business from their home. All right. If you want to know how to leverage your experience, your education, your expertise into a high ticket product and get free, and build a sustainable business, your coach should be doing that, and there should be evidence of it. If you want to replace your current income and in your own business, your coach shouldn't be working part-time, put it that way. Okay, if that's what you're looking for, a mentor that's full-time, because you need to make sure that someone is. If you want lifestyle, your coach should have the lifestyle that you want. I invest with my coach exclusively because she was free, because she spent 2 months every year in Mexico. And I was like, who could leave their life and just run their business from Mexico? And I wanted freedom, like everything. And she showed me that she had it. And I knew she had it. And therefore I worked with her. I was like, she can help me be free. I was not attracted to pretty dresses or, or diamonds or sitting in a limo. None of these things you can rent. Okay. I wanted lifestyle. And that's what I created for myself. You need to make sure that whoever is your mentor, your coach, your teacher, that they're not afraid, that they're leading from the front. Very important. That money is not a concern, right? That they're not hustling you for money, talking about hustle and grind, building your business as a side hustle, because all of those are toxic ways of talking about success. Okay. What success? You ever heard Bill Gates say that? He's building his business as a side hustle. That's a tip. You've heard Oprah say that? Never. Okay. And you need to make sure that the people that you're working with are secure enough to be themselves. Because at the end of the day, I trust people who are real and I don't trust people who aren't. And I find that people who are creative duplicators tend not to be real. Right. And I don't trust people like that. That's just my thing. Doesn't have to be your thing. It's my opinion. All right. So imagine if you decided that you were going to work with someone like that. What would that look like? So that's what I have for you today. I wanted to open up the floor and hear what your ahas or your takeaways are. I think a lot of you guys have been following me anyway over the last I don't know, couple months, weeks. And, at the end of all my lives, I love to hear your comments, your ahas, your takeaways, what you got from it. I want to invite you to attend my mastermind. It's coming up on the 17th of October. I can't believe it's October. And it's pretty incredible. I'm going to teach women, smart shop women like you, how to package your knowledge into a high ticket offering. And I'm going to show you over the course of 7 days how to do exactly that from the 17th to the 23rd. Each day, I'll be breaking down one component live for 90 minutes, how to package your knowledge at the highest level, how to price and value the transformation that you bring to the table with your background, with your gifts, your talent, and your experience, how to position yourself in the marketplace as the obvious choice, and how to find buyers. And if you've thought about building a profitable coaching, consulting, training, business, or as a speaker or author or online educator, you need to be in the house. Investment's pretty low. It's about $997. So it's just, I can't even believe that I'm offering that for that, because when these women attended live, it was $1,500 to attend live. So you get to watch the replay of the event from November for training, and also have me live with you, teaching you and coaching you over the course of 7 days. So take a look at the actual agenda and you'll see all that you're getting. Not only me, but some incredible speakers are coming to teach you also how to market on Facebook, how to protect your business online, how to protect your IP. I'm teaching you also how to sell, which is what I know how to do exceptionally well, and how to build and package a digital product, at the highest level, a digital service, and how to market it. Are there any questions from the training today? One aha, one takeaway. Okay, remember, I did all of this training today, and I want to know from you, okay, you guys, one aha or takeaway that you got. Like, what was the thing that really resonated with you, or that you connected with the most being here? And for each of us, it'll be something different. But, I think for me, when I realized what was possible, what I had in my hands that I was taking for granted, just my life skills, my soft skills, my hard skills, right? Like what I was doing professionally, in that I was creating income for the companies that I worked for, that I could do the exact same thing with my skills and my talent for myself. And when I realized that I could do that, that was exceptionally transformational for me. Rosetta writes, my aha is, it's about getting free and staying free. It is. So it's not about money in the door and out the door. It's not about building a course and you have one launch and it does well and now you're in the hustle state. It's about knowing how to build a proper, sustainable business based on your knowledge. And there are best practices to know how to do that. And I've had great success with my clients, building out premium products. A lot of them have come to me and they sold low ticket things under $2,500 before they met me. And as a result of working with me, they learn how to package their knowledge into high ticket offerings. And it's transformational for them, right? It's completely, it makes all the difference. So any other ahas or takeaways before we sign off? That was a good one, Rosetta. There's so many, right, tonight. And, but if you haven't been taking that time to simply just imagine, imagine the thing that you want. Why not? Why are you not playing in that space? Why are you not standing tall in that way for yourself? I want to invite you to the masterclass. I know that you'll get tremendous value being there. The women are incredible. They're thought leaders. I only attract giants because to change your life, you have to be giant about it. All right. So I want to thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate you for being here. If you're not already connected to me via email, miaredrick.com, easy, first name, last name.com, or make sure you're connected with me on Facebook. Mia Redrick, The Mom Strategist, is my public business page on Facebook. And make sure you hit the notifications on Periscope and also on Facebook so that when I come live again on tomorrow, you'll get a notification. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great and amazing night. Bye.